brave visitors on this wet and cold night. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Land Use Committee. We have a quorum. We're going to get started. I'm Andrea Kelly. I'm the chair. With us in the chamber, we have Allison Leary from Ward 1, Tariq Lucas from Ward 2. You didn't have to tell me, I know. Councillor Stephen Farrell from Ward 8. Online, we have Andrea Downs from Ward 5, and our terrific staff who did not have to come out except for Katie Holmes, our clerk, who's here. We have Sandria Berman, Kat Kemet, and Katie Wewell from Planning, and Jonah Temple from the Law Department. We're going to be able to take care of a few items quickly and first. We've had 2 requests to withdraw without prejudice from petitions that were before us. So we're going to take those up first, and then we'll do some auto dealer licenses and perhaps then get into the things that you folks in the chamber are here for. The first request to withdraw without prejudice is on item number 264-25, which was a request to exceed FAR at 11 Richfield Road. Any questions from any members? Would somebody like to make a motion to exceed? Tariq?
Yeah, I move that we accept this withdrawal without prejudice.
Thank you. It's in my ward. All in favor, we're just going to do this on a voice vote. All in favor of accepting this request, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Good luck, Peter C. We'll see you later next term. The next one is item number 348-25, which is a request to extend, oh no, that's not the next one. Sorry, I'm going in order of this. 216-25, which is a request to rezone 3 parcels to multi-residence 1. This is at Dudley Road and Brandeis Road. We refer to it as Dudley Road. Would someone like to make a motion to accept this? Again, thank you, Councillor Lucas.
I move that we accept the withdrawal without prejudice for 216-25.
And 217-25. There are sort of 2 related petitions for this. I think we can do them both together. Do you agree, Katie? We can accept both? Yeah. And we've been joined by Councillor Block from Ward 4. We're just doing a voice vote on accepting Dudley Road. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that's unanimous too. Okay, now we do have 8 requests for auto dealer licenses. The first one is number 350-25, which is for a Class 1 auto dealer license for MAG Retail Holdings on Washington Street in Newton. Katie, do you want to tell us overall if they're all caught up on everything that we need to know about in terms of payment or fines or other transgressions? Can we just go one at a time? Are they all set?
Yes. In order to get on the agenda, they had to pay all their things and get checked.
And they're all good. So we'll just take them one at a time. I don't think we need to go into it because our work has really been done by the clerk, which is to make sure that they're all legal and paid up. Again, the first is that 350-25 MAG Retail Holdings. All in favor of granting this auto dealer Class 1 license, say aye. Aye. Councillor Downs, were you in on that?
Yeah, I was just slow on the unmute.
Thank you. Okay, the second one is number 351-25, Class 2 auto dealer license for Reagan Inc. in Auburndale. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I told you this would be fast. Next one, number 352-25, Class 2 auto dealer license at Newton Center Shell on Center Street. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Next is number 353-25, Class 2 auto dealer license for Velocity Motors on Hawthorne Street. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Next is number 354-25, another Class 2 auto dealer license for Luxury Motors, also on Hawthorne Street. Please say aye if you're in favor. Aye.
Aye.
Next, 355-25, Class 2 auto dealer license, Yes Auto Sales Group, DBA Yes Auto Center on Watertown Street. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next is 356-25, Class 2 auto dealer license at MAP or MAP Development Investments, DBA Christian Tapia. Master used car on North Street. If you're in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Councillor Farrell, were you in on that? Okay, didn't hear. And our last and final one for the night is number 361-25, Class 2 auto dealer license for Newton Trade Center Associates on Adam Street. If you're in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I think it was because you didn't have the microphone on. We couldn't hear you, Councillor Farrell. Okey doke. Then we have two petitions before us tonight. The first one is number 348-25, which is a request to extend a non-conforming 4-unit multifamily dwelling use with the addition of outdoor decks at 5153 Eddy Street. First, we'll hear from the planning department, and then we're happy to hear from you too. So let's hear from planning first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll pull up the presentation now. Good evening. My name is Kat Kemet. I'm Deputy Chief Planner in Current Planning here at City Hall. This is petition 348-25 for 5153 Eddy Street. This is a special permit request to extend a non-conforming multifamily dwelling use. The property is located in the Multi-Residence 3 district in West Newton. The site has a few existing nonconformities, including the multifamily use, the size of the lot, which is slightly undersized, and the front and side setback. And the immediate area consists of primarily single and multifamily residential uses, though the wider surrounding neighborhood closer to West Newton has a much more diverse mix of zoning and uses. The petitioner is seeking to reconfigure the exterior deck area at the rear on the first and second floors to accommodate access to the second-story units. Because these changes will further extend the non-conforming multifamily use, they need a special permit to alter and extend that use. When reviewing this request, the council should consider whether the proposed alteration and extension of the non-conforming use will be substantially more detrimental than the existing residential use is to the neighborhood. And we have no specific concerns to note with this one. The work proposed here is really limited to reconfiguring the rear deck area to allow for a minor expansion of the deck and to create more clearly delineated entries at the rear. Only one setback will be impacted, and it's the rear setback. It'll only be impacted by a few inches. So the rear setback will still be over 50 feet, which is much more than is required. So given the minor nature of the request and the location at the rear, we believe it's negative. It's likely not to have a negative impact on the neighborhood. And I'm happy to bring up any materials or plans at the request of the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kemet. We'll see if the petitioner has slides or a presentation they'd like to show. Otherwise, we may ask you to put something up. Would you folk, are you here for Eddy Street? Come to the microphone and we'll just make sure it's turned on at the base. Just give us your name and address and tell us what you'd like to do and why. Do you have a screen you'd like to share? Perfect. Not yet. There's a little button on the bottom of the black part.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, we have been joined by Councillor Pam Wright. Good timing because she's from Ward 3 and this project is in Ward 3. Hello, Councillor Wright. She's on Zoom. Could I just again give us your name and address, sir?
Yep, Kevin Fitzgerald. I live at 3 Wobbin Street in Newton. And this is I'm representing the team at 5153 Eddy Street. Yep. Yes, and we're here to present reconfiguration of the decks located at the rear of the property. Like was said before, it's a 4-family home in a multi-residence 3 zone. And we are currently renovating the interior under a separate building permit. And our goal is to reconfigure the 2nd-story decks as well as the 1st floor decks to accommodate stair access and improve functionality. We are proposing a centered stair rising up to a mid-landing. From there, the stairs diverge to each side, providing each unit with a distinct and private entry and dedicated deck space. We plan to also remove the existing bulkhead, currently the only common access to the basement, and replace it with a standard full-height door for better accessibility to the basement. We also propose refinishing the existing 1st-floor decks to visually match the new 2nd-floor construction. As noted in the planning materials, the decks are located at the rear of the house with limited visibility to the street. Therefore, the changes will not substantially be more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing structure. The proposed work fully complies with the dimensional standards for the zone, including setbacks, lot coverage, and open space. By modernizing these egresses and creating private outdoor space, we believe the project serves the public convenience and welfare by improving the quality of housing for the tenants of the house. Here's an example of what the existing decks looked like. And then up here is what we're proposing on the left side. We respectfully request your support for this special permit to alter and extend the non-conforming use. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Very concise. Let's see if there are any members of the public. Or anyone in the chamber want to speak to this? Anyone on Zoom have questions or comments on this project? I don't remember that we've received anything from anybody else having written to us. If not, we'll take it into committee and see what committee members have comments on. Anyone? Councillor Lucas.
I think this is in Ward 3, right?
Yes.
So when ready, I will make the motion to close the public hearing and move for approval. Thank you.
Councillor Leary.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty minor project overall. Is the setback issue just because the stairs come straight out? And that's where the relief is needed? Is it measured from the stair?
The setback is measured from the extent of the deck itself, not the stair. I think it's just the exterior work that it's extending the non-conforming use within the space is why we're requesting a special permit here. But there's no setback concern within the rear of.
Right, because it's 50 feet or something.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay, it looks fine to me. Yeah.
You're basically just putting the access stairs up the middle and moving that middle section, and it looks fine to me. Anyone else on the committee have a comment? Or Councillor Wright, do you have anything to say about this in your ward?
It looks fine. I mean, it's very minor what they're doing.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I will take Councillor Lucas up on his offer to make a motion. Did you say you wanted to close the public hearing? All in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
And then a motion to approve. Could we take a look at the findings and conditions, Ms. Kemet?
I was muted. I believe you should be able to see that now, hopefully.
Thank you.
So for findings, we have one. The proposed extension of the non-conforming use will not be substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use is to the neighborhood because the work will comply with applicable dimensional standards. The decks will be located at the rear with limited visibility from the street and are unlikely to have a more negative impact on abutters and the surrounding area than the existing rear deck. And for conditions, we have our standard conditions here for referencing plans, which is the site plan and the architectural plans here. Standard building permit conditions requiring a recorded copy of the special permit and sign off from planning. And we will review again at occupancy for the building permit to certify compliance with the plan referencing and requiring a final as-built. And that concludes that.
Thank you. Again, very straightforward. Counselor Wright?
Just one question. I'm trying to look on the website and stuff. So this is 348-25, and when I look in the Friday packet, I didn't see the draft council order for that. And it's also helpful when they do the draft council orders to put the address on it. Oh, it's in the compiled memo then, I guess.
Yes, it was included as an attachment.
Okay, but there was no draft council order for it under draft council orders?
So those draft council orders were the council orders for the December 1st city council meeting.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You should visit us more often, Counselor Wright. We've been joined by President Laredo, member of the committee, president of the council from Ward 7. Any other comments? We're ready to vote on this. I know Counselor Laredo, you came in after the presentations. It was all quite simple and straightforward, but let's take a roll call vote.
Counselor Block,
Aye.
Counselor Downs,
Aye.
Counselor Farrell,
Aye.
Counselor Kelly,
Aye.
Counselor Leary,
Aye.
Counselor Lobovitz, Counselor Lucas,
Aye.
President Laredo. Motion passes 6-0 with one absent and one abstaining.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good luck. Perfectly fine project. Okay, the next and last item we have before us, it's two different items, but they're related. The first is number 216-25, which is a request to rezone. Whoops, wait a minute. No, sorry. 306-25, which is a request to rezone at 41 Farwell Street into a multi-residence 2 zone. And the related item is number 307-25, which is a request to allow a 3-unit multifamily dwelling and the zone change from limited manufacturing to multi-residence 2 at 41 Farwell. Again, we'll hear first from the planning department, and then if the petitioner is here somewhere, we'll hear from them.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sandria Berman, planner for the City of Newton. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Just a moment. Hopefully you can see this. Apologies here. We'll start from the beginning. All right. So yes, we have here both a rezoning petition under 306-25 as well as a special permit site plan approval for a 3-unit multifamily use on Lot 1, non-accessory parking lot use for Lot 2, dimensional relief, lighting, landscape screening, and regulatory parking waivers for both Lots 1 and Lot 2 at 41 Farwell Street. And this again is coming back to us from the October 21st, 2025 joint meeting with the Planning Board. Just as a quick review, we have here the subject property, which consists of a 24,815 square foot lot that's located in a limited manufacturing district in Nonantum that's close to the Charles River that you can see right over here. It's just north of the property. The site's current use is a non-accessory surface parking stall with 46 stalls, utilized by both abutting businesses at 26 Farwell Street. The property is also located in a mixed-use area with an MR2 district to the north, east, and south, and a manufacturing district to the west, to the east, excuse me. Surrounding residential properties include 2, 3, and multifamily dwellings to the north, east, and south, as well as in varied commercial uses to the west that include retail, restaurant, office, and other business uses. So again, just as a quick overview, we have first here an A&R plan that was provided to divide the current parcel into 2 lots, Lot 1 and Lot 2. And then we have subsequently from that a rezoning request strictly for Lot 1 to rezone from a limited manufacturing to an MR2 district in order to construct a 3-family multifamily residential project by special permit. And Lot 2 is to remain zoned the same as limited manufacturing to continue its use as a non-accessory parking lot. And finally, we have special permit relief for both lots, Lot 1 and Lot 2. Lot 1 is seeking relief for the proposed multifamily use, which requires a special permit, as well as parking relief, lighting, and perimeter screening requirements. And for Lot 2, they're also seeking relief for the non-accessory parking use as the fact that they're creating a new lot requires a special permit for that use. Dimensional setbacks, accessible parking regulations, perimeter and landscape screening, and lighting plan waivers. In terms of the breakdown of the special permit relief, we have the relief requested here for Lot 1 for the proposed 3-unit multifamily, as well as the relief proposed here for Lot 2. You'll notice that there's the relief for the use, as well as parking and lighting and screening requirements. Similarly, here we have relief for the use, parking waivers, and dimensional relief for the accessible stall, as well as perimeter screening, interior landscaping requirements, and lighting requirements. So our criteria, again, to consider in reviewing the proposal for Lot 1, we have the standard 4 criteria for special permits, which is that the site is an appropriate location, that the dwelling as developed and operated will not adversely affect the neighborhood, that there will be no nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians, and then access to oversights is appropriate for the types and numbers of vehicles involved, and that literal compliance with the required parking stall design standards for Lot 1 is impracticable due to the nature, use, location, size, with depth, shape, or grade of the lot, or that the exceptions would be in the public interest. In addition, continued for Lot 1, that compliance with the lighting requirements for parking facilities over 5 stalls for Lot 1 is impracticable, and that literal compliance with the landscape requirements for perimeter screening for the parking facilities over 5 stalls in Lot 1 is impracticable as well. Criteria for Lot 2, we have the same 4 standard special permit criteria, that the site is an appropriate location for the proposed non-accessory parking use, that the proposed non-accessory parking use as developed and operated will not adversely affect the neighborhood, that there will be no nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians, and that access to the sites over streets is appropriate for the types and numbers of vehicles involved. There's some additional criteria as well for literal compliance with the dimensional parking requirements for accessible stalls for Lot 2 is impracticable due to the nature, use, or the location, size, with depth, shape, or grade of the lot, or that the exceptions would be in the public interest. Again, literal compliance with the parking regulations for Lot 2 is impracticable due to the use or the location, depth, size, width, or grade of the lot. Again, literal compliance with the lighting requirements for parking facilities over 5 stalls for Lot 2 is impracticable. That literal compliance with the landscape requirements for perimeter screening for parking facilities over 5 stalls for Lot 2 is impracticable, and that literal compliance with the interior landscape requirements for Lot 2 is also impracticable. In terms of planning's analysis, in terms of the rezoning, the zoning history of the neighborhood surrounding 41 Farwell Street reflects a mixed-use area, and it was initially residential in the 1920s before becoming a manufacturing district in the 1930s, and then ultimately becoming a limited manufacturing parcel in the 1990s that was surrounded by higher density residential zones. Sorry about that. A rezoning for Lot 1 from LM to MR2 would bring into conformance with the abutting MR2 district to the north, south, and east, whereas the current LM zoning is not found anywhere in the area. And a rezoning to MR2 would provide an opportunity to develop multifamily residential housing in conformance with other residential housing abutting the property to the north, supporting the goal of smart growth to increase housing diversity and supply where possible per the city's comprehensive plan. In terms of special permit relief for Lot 1, the proposed multifamily use is appropriate for the neighborhood, which includes an abutting MR2 district with residential 2, 3, and multifamily residences. The multifamily use will not adversely affect the neighborhood or create a nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians, as the project meets the dimensional setbacks of the lot while creating additional low-density housing. The proposed project complies with density restrictions, including lot area and lot area per unit. The proposed project as designed adds open space and increases tree and landscape plantings on Lot 1, where previously no trees or green space exists, offering an environmental and aesthetic improvement for the neighborhood from the existing non-accessory parking use. And finally, a small portion of the property exists within the riverfront area that's adjacent to the Charles River and will require a wetlands permit from the Concom. In terms of special permit relief for Lot 2, the proposed non-accessory parking use of 32 stalls is appropriate for the site and neighborhood, as it remains the same as the existing use and will continue to provide abutting businesses with parking. The proposed non-accessory parking use will not adversely affect the neighborhood or create a nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians, as the project will include infrastructure and landscaping improvements to the lot and include parking stalls that meet the standard zoning dimensions of 9 by 19. The requested relief for landscaping waivers is due to the irregular shape of that lot that precludes adequate spacing for the prescribed interior and perimeter landscape requirements. And we do recommend further discussion regarding the requested waiver for a lighting and photometric plan on both lots 1 and lot 2 to determine if the existing light pole that is on site is sufficient for safety and security. And I believe that concludes the planning presentation. I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen and turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Berman. Is the petitioner either in the chamber or on Zoom who would like to follow up with the presentation? As I recall, last time you were here, there wasn't much of a presentation, so we look forward to seeing that tonight. Somebody here?
Yes, my name is Bart Bussink. I am the managing partner of Two Squares LLC, the owner of the property. And Milton Yu, the architect, senior planner, is with us tonight. He will share plans with the council, with the land use committee, sorry. We feel that the project itself is in conformity with the neighborhood and would be a benefit to the neighborhood. It is a three-unit development, as was stated by Ms. Berman. We expressly designed it to mimic and be in keeping with the architectural
Are you still in the midst of closing up your discussion presentation? And do you have, he'll come back in a sec. I'm just going to ask a question while he's becoming unmuted. I'm not sure if you or Mr. Yu have a visual presentation for us to look like when you talk about it being in character.
Yes, Mr. Yu has a visual presentation for you.
Great, we want to see that.
and-
Okay, go
yeah.
ahead. Sorry about that interruption.
No, we're all sorry. God,
Recording in progress.
are you still there?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Yeah, we don't really have that much. I don't have that much more to say. Milton has a lot to say. And so maybe we should move on to his presentation.
Sure. Again, we would love to see the looks of this. So go ahead, Milton, you're up. Or you will be in a moment. Here you go. You are unmuted, and I believe you have the capacity to share your screen.
Thank you.
Here we go. Looks like it's coming. Yes, thank you.
Okay. So do you see the first page where it says 41 Farwell Street?
We do.
Excellent. So coming out of the first land use committee with the planning board, what we heard were concerns about what was going to happen with the existing parking and, the effects before and after, and compare them. And also we wanted to look at the surrounding area in terms of the sizes and comparison, and help the land use committee come to some idea of the rezoning, whether that was appropriate. Since then,
Milton, why don't you start with showing the actual buildings as designed, and then move on from there, if that's okay.
okay. So I believe, so as far as the actual design of the architecture, that has not changed since the first land use committee. What we mostly responded to was the questions that councilors had in terms of the rezoning, in terms of the neighborhood. But the first thing I would point out with this scheme is that the portion that is turning has been approved for MR is lot 1 here. And the remaining portion is to remain non-accessory parking. So on the portions, if you look at the landscape portion, there'll be enough to place the 3 units, and each unit will have their outdoor space and the screening as we showed here. We also have accessible walkway toward the front. Parking will be 2 per unit, 2 tandem spaces per unit, and the remaining 4 non-accessory parking to remain. And I will go over the total changes in terms of the before and after. So existing lot, we have 51 parking spaces. 46 are striped, 5 are not striped. You have 21 leased for parking only. And that gives you 30 spaces available for 26 Farwell. And if you subtract out 27 that is used by Farwell from those 30, you have 3 available for the others. That's the existing condition. The proposed condition is to have 32 parking spaces, 19 less. And that after the termination of the leased parking spaces, that would give you 32 available for 26 Farwell and the others. 26 Farwell only uses 27, so that's 5 available for others. And the new MR zone would have the required 6 parking spaces for the 3 units. And as far as the overall benefit to the rezoning, you have reduction of impervious surfaces. Right now, there's no impervious area. It's a asphalt parking lot. Proposed MR2 portion of the lot will allow for residential use, such as 3 units proposed, will significantly increase the amount of landscaping impervious surface on the site. The proposed 3 units will also increase the residential housing in the city. The proposed MR2 portion of the lot will also allow for a continuation of the residential character, which I can also point out on Google image in terms of what the rest of the residential stock is along the area. Here's a contextual map to help people. So in terms of the proposal, we have 2.5 stories. We also have 4 2.5-story houses right across the street. 34, 46, 50 Farwell, and 1 Farwell Circle. We have 2 3-story apartment buildings directly adjacent to our lot, as well as some other 2.5-story lots further down Farwell, but also one directly across from our site as well. In terms of what we wanted the character of the building to look like, we have a front elevation here. So this sort of centralized facade with the center gable is taken from what we have across the street. So that's the parking lot of our site. Directly across the street, that is mostly the facades that we were trying to draw inspiration from with the symmetrical facade, central gable end here, here. And these are the 3-story apartment buildings.
We're not seeing those photographs, or at least I'm
We're
not.
still on the front elevation. If you were trying to move through other
Sorry.
elevations or renderings, we're still stuck on that A3 plan.
Sorry, okay. Let's do that again. So
Okay.
our lot is here.
No, we're not sharing, you're not sharing your screen anymore. Here we come.
Thank you. So that's our parking lot.
Okay, thank
or
you.
Subject lot. And across the street, I'm sorry, I was trying to point out the buildings that we were drawing inspiration from for our facades.
Right,
Um,
now
with
we
the
see it.
Central gable ends. This one and this one in terms of the heights of the buildings. We have the apartment building, 3 stories directly abutting us. And also even into Farwell Circle.
While you're showing these photos, can you point out to us where that area of easement or right of way is located that we heard about at the last meeting?
Sure. This is it right here. So as far as my understanding is the easement and access to the easement will not be changing with our proposal. Do you see the plans now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so this drawing will indicate it. So this right of way, shared right of way will remain. The parking spaces that we're proposing access through lot 1 to the 6 parking spaces for the MR2 here.
So this is all what we saw before. None of this has changed at all.
None of
Correct.
that, the design, the architecture has not changed, but the helping the, bringing more introductory information about the surroundings and the overall effect
Right.
of the parking is what we included.
You were trying to give us some context, but the plans for the structure and the parking lot and the landscaping is all the
Haven't
same
changed.
as what was before. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead if you have more.
Well, we also had some comments about seeing our building more. We had these elevations, the front elevation is, like I was pointing out, designed to mimic what was across the street. From the side, we want to show a breaking up of the massing. Well, keep in mind that this part of the building is set back much farther. And also, the change in roof line is meant to show a smaller massing. There's the rear view. So this is the 1 unit in the back, 2 in the front. These show the patio doors for each unit.
All set?
Yeah. So with that, if you have any questions.
We may, so we're glad you'll be staying on. I'd like to welcome Councillor Maliki, who has joined us on Zoom. She's also a Ward 3 councillor, and this project is in Ward 3, so you have all 3 Ward 3 councillors listening to you tonight. Let's see if there are any members of the public. I know we did have a comment or two last time. I don't know if any of those people would like to follow up. And one of our questions to the team was to please meet with the neighbors and abutters. So it would be good if you could address if that happened and the result of that. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak? I don't see any hands. Mr. Busnick, would you like to address that comment about engaging the neighbors and abutters?
Yeah, I have spent the better part, well, over the last 15 months, I've spoken to, well, I've successfully engaged personally with a number of the direct abutters. The ones that I have not personally met with and showed our plans to and explained them to, explained the plans to. I left a set of plans for them with a note saying that to please review them and call me or email me with any questions and concerns that they might have, and that I'd be happy to meet with them. I did meet with Mr. Malloy, who spoke at the last meeting, and we discussed the situation. And I believe that his concerns mostly, well, he stated his concerns were mostly about the right of way and his property that abuts us next to the right of way on the other side. And we discussed that and the fact that there wasn't going to be a change in the use of that right of way, and that seemed to address his concerns. The other concern that was expressed by the owner of the apartment building was about water migration between our various parking lots, and he was happy to hear that there'll be a considerable amount of containment of water on our site, as well as more impervious ground that will be pervious ground that will be created by this project. There were a couple of the direct abutters across the street who were complimentary. I'm sorry, but we're traveling and I don't have their names in front of me, but they lived in the building that is directly across the street and the one immediately to the right of that building. Other than that, I spoke to the owners of Queen Screw, who's not a direct abutter, but is an interested party in the neighborhood. And I spoke to John at Arachi Landscaping at some length. And that was basically what I've done.
Thank you. You said over the last 15 or 16 months. I was really specifically wondering, since the last public hearing, and with these abutters and neighbors who are supportive or semi-supportive, did you ask any of them to let us know that? Because it would be so helpful for us to hear directly from them rather than your
Yes, Rhea.
interpretation.
No, right. I understand. No, I did not do that. I'm sorry. But I could do that potentially.
Yeah, we haven't heard from anyone, so as far as we know, none of this happened, but thank you for talking about the outreach that you did. Okay, without any questions from the public, although if you are there, public, raise your hand and I'll call on you. Right now, we'll take it into the committee for follow-up since our last meeting. Any committee members have questions or comments on this? Councillor Leary?
So I do think that this is an appropriate site for this multifamily. I think it does provide more housing. So I think that's a good thing. They're reducing impervious surfaces. And I think the building itself looks fine for the site. I had a couple of questions regarding sort of accessibility, how people are getting around the site. I think I have to get a drink of water, but can you come back to me?
Yes, Counselor Block.
Thank you, Chair. I have some questions about the parking calculation. Can the petitioner go back to the slide that indicated how many striped and unstriped parking stalls? Yes, that's it. So let's see if I just understand this right. The existing lot has 51 parking spaces, 46 and the 5. So then take me through the second line, 30 minus 27 used by 26 Farwell. So just remind me, 26 Farwell rents 27 spaces out of 30. And we get 30 by that first line, 51 minus the 21. So there are 30 available for 26 Farwell. So remind me what's happening with 26 Farwell. Maybe this is more a question for the planning department, but whoever can tell me what 26 Farwell's parking requirements are and if they're being satisfied by these 27 parking stalls, and if they're no longer going to be used by 26 Farwell, what stalls will they be using? Can anybody address that?
Mr. Busick, I believe you talked about this last time. Would you like to take the first run at that?
Yeah, I'll take a first run at it. So the people who actually rent space at 26 Farwell Street, right, use 27 spaces right now as an accessory. It's an accessory parking lot that is owned by the same LLC that owns 26 Farwell Street, and we provide that parking for them on that lot. I don't know exactly what to, I don't know the the 26 Farwell Street has very, very limited parking on its own site that is essentially inadequate for the use at 26 Farwell Street. So therefore, this parking lot serves that building as well as the existing parking on the lot that 26 Farwell Street occupies. I don't know if that's helpful at all, but.
Well, that's a good start. It seems like a reasonable coexistence between 26 Farwell's parking needs and this lot's availability. So will 26 Farwell will no longer have access to this parking lot once this plan is executed? If this
No,
plan-
that's not the intention of what we're trying to convey here.
Okay.
What we're trying to convey here is that 21 spots are leased to an outside vendor right now that has nothing to do with 26 Farwell Street.
Okay.
So those 21, that tenant or that leasee will have to find their own parking somewhere else. And for them, it's not critical that that parking be in this location. They don't have a building or anything else that's in this location.
Okay, so that's helpful. So just, I want to come back to the lessee for those 21 stalls.
Yeah,
So 26 Farwell, which currently has use of 27 stalls,
correct.
will continue to have access to the 26
Yes,
stalls? Okay,
yes.
good. That's, thank you. So let's go back to the lessee here. Can you tell us the name of the lessee?
It's a transportation company that does transportation for various school districts, et cetera.
I see. So they use 21 stalls to park their vehicles.
Well, at most, right? Generally, honestly, they have not used the full extent of their parking for a very long time.
Okay.
But they feel a need to maintain that availability for their own reasons.
Okay, thank you. I think this is becoming clearer to me. Sorry if I'm
No, it's somewhat complicated, so
But,
I understand the questions.
So okay, so the transportation company won't be using this space anymore. They'll have to find space elsewhere. Okay, I'm sure they'll figure that out, but that's not germane to us today, other than, I guess this is freeing up space in this parking lot for you to build this
Correct.
building. Okay, all right. Thank you. This is very helpful. Appreciate the explanation. That's it. Chair.
Thank you.
No
Council.
problem.
I'm actually very glad you asked that question because it's clearer to me this time than last of the sort of three sets of users here. So I'm glad you asked those questions. Let's go back to Councillor Leary, who has had a chance to have a water break. And then I see your hand up, Councillor Downs. We'll come to you next.
Thank you. Just continuing on that parking topic, I think I might have missed some of it, but I know there's 6 parking spaces, 2 each for the units. Is there any guest parking available? Or is there street parking or anything nearby?
There is street parking,
There is.
and there will be between 3 and 5 spaces that will be that are labeled here as available for others. They're not specifically designated as guest parking spaces, but they are available.
Okay, so if they're free, a guest could park there.
Yeah, and frankly, most of the tenants at Farwell Street, if not all of them, work during the day and are gone in the evening. So, guest parking will be plentiful in the evenings.
Okay, shared parking. Can you remind me how many bedrooms these units have?
Milton?
I believe there are, oh, sorry.
Mr. Yu?
Okay, so we have 2-bedroom, second floor. Yeah, 2 bedrooms on the second floor.
All 3 units each have 2 bedrooms on the second floor.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. So these could be family units. Is there any access to, I know you're near the Charles River, but you're also in a lot of parking. Is there access? I'm just trying to think about how families or children would get around. I wasn't clear on the amount of any outdoor space that came with the units. Or how people would maneuver around the outside of the building to either get to a play space or also access their vehicles. Could you just give me a little more detail on that?
I can speak to that. There's a common sort of shared space between the units that can lead directly to the parking area, and also to the street in the front. The private patios are front directly from the patio doors from each unit. Like here.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you just said, those last few words.
The patio spaces are accessed directly from the patio doors from each unit on their ground.
Oh, okay, okay.
So there's a common paved area at the beginning, middle, and then each unit has a paved patio, but there's no outdoor open green space? Is that what you're saying?
There is connected green space as well around each patio.
It looks like the green space is pretty limited and, you know, maybe for, it's nice to have that green space where for trees or plants or flowers. But it's not really a space where children would play, is it?
Could be, I would say. I mean, they're not tiny spaces. They're, Milton, do you have dimensional?
Dimensionally. See if I have. They're probably in the order of 8 by 16 for the patio space, and then the space around for the setback range from 15 feet to around 15 feet of green all the way around.
And you're improving the sidewalk on the front, correct?
We actually don't require. We to the extent we're disturbing it, we will be required to maintain it, but we're not proposing changes to the sidewalk.
Oh, I thought it said improved sidewalk on the front at the last slide on your rendering.
Let's see.
But you're saying that if there's any damage to the sidewalk during the development, once it's completed, you would fix the sidewalk?
I think that would be a standard requirement for.
Yes, that
Yeah.
is a standard required, but I'm not familiar with the condition of that sidewalk, that's all.
Oh, I'm sorry. The landscape plan also shows new trees planted in the public way, just on the other side of the property line. So you can see them here
Okay.
with respect to the sidewalk.
In the public way?
Right. So here and
So
here.
did you go through Newton's tree warden for approval or permission to do that? Or how did you decide to do that?
I believe that is, I believe that's a separate permit that needs to be sought.
And I mean, it's not essential that those trees be in the public sidewalk. They can be moved a foot or two towards the building and be in our, on our property.
It would be helpful if you did coordinate with our tree warden around any trees that you're putting in a public space.
Absolutely.
Would be required.
Right, absolutely.
So these are your definitive plans? Because if you haven't yet talked to the tree warden, I would want to hear definitively about where everything is going to be. Sounds like things are still up in the air. But why don't I let some other counselors weigh in? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Leary. Councillor Downs?
Thank you, Chair. I'm actually pretty enthusiastic about this project. You've got a parking lot, and instead you'll have 3 homes here in an area of Newton that doesn't look like a lot of the rest of Newton, at least not on that side of the street. On the other side, it looks a little bit more typical. It's in pretty easy walking distance of Albemarle Road, which, as we all know, has Cheesecake Brook running through it and is an easy walk down to the middle school and playing fields and playgrounds, preschool. And it's easy, even closer to the Charles River Greenway along Farwell Street or just going down Farwell Circle, which is lots of outdoor access. Of course, assuming the Charles doesn't flood like it sometimes has. And it adds a little more housing here. I don't think, colleagues, that we should be in the business of ensuring that non-conforming neighbors have parking that they've gotten used to or have been paying to use in lots that might be redeveloped to a higher and better use that would bring us some additional housing and tax revenue. I think that's a way to tie yourself up in knots. And we know that the more parking and the easier the parking is, the more parking you provide, the more likely you are to have those cars driven, therefore have more traffic. So I'm going to just point out this is going to add 3 more units of housing. It's going to look a lot better than what's currently there. Usually our criteria are not, can we get mitigation out of a small development, but our criteria are, is this better one than what is there now? And will it add to the neighborhood? And I think the answer here is an emphatic yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Downs. Do any other Land Use Committee members want to comment right now, or shall I call on Councillor Malachy? Councillor Malachy. And then I'll go back to see if people in the public or in the chamber have questions or comments, or if they're here for this petition. Go ahead, Councillor Malachy.
Oh, okay, thank you. I just curious on the it's an October December 10 plan, or if I'm looking the right thing. It does say the sidewalk is labeled improved sidewalk, and it seemed unclear if there was going to be improvement or not.
Yeah, Mr. Yu tried to answer that, but didn't seem to think that they were improving the sidewalk and didn't have an answer to why the plan said improved sidewalk. Is that right, Mr. Yu? Do you folks have a landscape designer architect who did this plan who could perhaps answer some of these questions?
We don't have the landscape architect on tonight, but trying to ascertain that.
Okay. We'll come back to you for that.
I think, I mean, this is not something that we discussed, frankly. And I think the assumption that I've been operating under is that we would repair whatever damage we create. And, we are not interested in having a terrible sidewalk in front of the buildings. On the other hand, we're not, I hadn't anticipated taking on redoing the entire sidewalk. So,
yeah, I think Councillors Leary and Malachy were just asking what the note that said improved sidewalk was referring to. What
Yes,
improvements did you intend? Not just repair of damage you caused, but what improvements were intended?
Yes, I do see that. The plans do call for new granite curb and public concrete sidewalk. But, I mean, we don't have much more detail than that at this point.
Well, that's different than repairing damage. A new concrete sidewalk and
right.
granite curb. Sounds good. Thank you for looking that up.
And
Councillor
you would
Malachy, keep going.
Right, and I guess you would need to do that because you're putting in water, sewer, no gas, I guess, right? Because this is new construction. So this will be all electric?
Right.
Right, okay, but you'd have gas and water lines where you don't have them now, so that would be disturbing the current sidewalk anyway.
Yes.
Okay, and I see the 2 large trees that appear to be on the line of the sidewalk inside the sidewalk existing Norway maple, 7 inches, existing elm, 12 inches. So those are going to stay put.
Right, those are existing.
And there was a note, planning memo asked about potential bicycle parking. Is there going to be anything like that?
Milton?
Bicycle parking. We actually do have bicycle parking. Here, it shows up here on the dimensional site plan. It's on Z2. It's located right off the sidewalk near the walkway. 2 bikes.
Oh, right by the sidewalk.
Right.
Oh, that's not where I'd want to leave my bicycles overnight if I own them.
Oh, this is meant for visitors.
Okay, but they're nothing for residents, and so there are basements to these units or not?
No.
No basements. Okay. So there really wouldn't be any, I guess they could park their, if they had bicycles, they could park them on their patios. That would sort of be the option.
Or next to their patios on the lawn area.
Mm-hmm. And there was a question about sort of play area for kids. Presumably not the front lawns, but the side lawn that's sort of more wider, square and
Yes.
protected. That would be the area. So is the intent for that area to be available to all 3 units, or as opposed to just units 2 and 3?
Each unit would have access to the immediately abutting green space.
So for unit 1, that would be the strip on the side and basically the front yard.
Right, and for unit 2, it would be on the side and front yard, and unit 3 would be most of the backyard. It would be shared, obviously, with unit 2, since unit 2 has their patio there as well.
Okay, and there's these are like over 3,000 square foot units, and they only have 2 bedrooms?
No, they're about 1,800 square feet each.
Oh, each, okay. I guess I thought I saw 3,000 something in the memo. I guess I was looking at the wrong thing. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Maliki. Any other questions or comments from the committee? I just have a quick one. It's not highly relevant to what we look at, but Mr. Yu, could you just pull up again the right elevation that you showed us before?
Sure. Right.
What's happening inside to make there be so few windows? There's 1 window on this whole facade.
Interesting. Let's look.
What's going on in there that these people who you imagine living here don't want any windows?
Well, they have windows, just not along the sidewall.
Could you show that elevation again, that right elevation?
Sure. So this is the as drawn. I mean, you don't have to put the head of the bed here, but that's where the bedroom is.
So there's no window on that facade. And there's 1 to the right. So what you're saying is that's intentional because you're giving wall space versus window space to the.
Well, Milton,
Yeah,
can you go back to that layout of the room, please?
Sure.
Because you'll see.
This is the wall in question.
Right, and there are windows both on the right and left side of that bed area, quite significant windows, actually.
So those are visible here. There's quite a bit of fenestration. I mean, we could
On the
have-
front facade. It was just a question. It just looked very unusual to me to have a side elevation like that with only one window. But that was just, I was just wondering if that was intentional or a mistake. Let's move on. It's not really that relevant to what we do here. I agree with some of the comments that were made, particularly by Councillor Downs, that this is an improvement to be providing 3 relatively small units of housing in a part of town that it seems appropriate, better use than a parking lot. I have to just say, like, as a site planner and landscape architect, it doesn't feel like a very well thoroughly thought through plan, but it is an improvement over what's there now. Any other comments? And yes, Councillor Leary.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear that I also do believe this is a good project for this site, and it is 3 smallish units. And overall, I would be very pleased to approve this project. It just seems like no one's very sure of themselves. That's all. And we're used to having, solid answers to questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was thinking you were going to have a more thorough presentation tonight because the last one was rather vague and iffy too, and it still feels a little bit that way to me. Would any of the councillors like to make a motion on this? This is in my ward and I'm not going to make a motion. Nobody wants to. Councillor Block.
I will move to close the public hearing and to approve the proposal.
Thank you, Councillor Block. All in favor of closing the public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Oh, before we do that, do you gentlemen want to, did you come for this project? Do you want to speak to this? No, okay, I just want to be sure. It's so unusual to see people come for no reason. The public hearing is now closed and you made a motion to approve, correct?
Yes.
Great. Ms. Berman, let's see what you have for findings and conditions.
Or would you like to begin first with the rezoning order or
Yes.
proceed with the, okay.
I think that makes sense. Let's start with the 306-25, which is the request to rezone.
Understood. I'll go ahead and share my screen for that. And again, this rezoning is just for lot 1. Hopefully everyone can see my screen here. We have here the narrative for lot 1, the section and block and lot to be zone that is currently zone limited manufacturing to multi-residence 2. And the lot boundaries here are described below. This was reviewed by our GIS coordinator just for accuracy here in terms of the A&R plan to make sure that the coordinates were accurate. It outlines here the total approximate square feet of the lot 1 as depicted on the A&R plan. Here again with the date for the plan. And that essentially summarizes the rezoning order. And it ties in as well to the special permit as well.
Thank you. Councillor Block, I'm assuming that your motions to close the public hearing and to approve were for both items, both the rezoning and the construction, is that correct?
Yes, it is correct. I do just want to note that for the record, we really only discussed the special permit application and not the zoning request, but I realize.
Well, that's up to us. If we want to discuss that, we could have, we can.
No, I realize that. I think
Okay.
we just followed the natural tendency that we have. But I support zoning change, so my motion does include that.
Ms. Holden, is it okay for you for the motion to apply to both, or do we need to? Okay, but we can vote them separately. We'll vote on the zoning separately. Any other questions or comments? Let's do that then. Let's vote on the request to rezone for item 306-25.
Counselor Block,
Aye.
Counselor Downs,
Aye.
Counselor Farrell,
Aye.
Counselor Kelly,
Aye.
Counselor Leary,
Aye.
Counselor Lobovitz, Counselor Lucas,
Aye.
President Laredo.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0 with 1 absent.
And now we'll do 307-25.
Counselor Block,
Do we need to review the
Yes, we haven't looked, at. Sorry, you're right. Ms.
Mhm.
Burke, let's look at, yes, thank you, Councilor Block.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And we have here, hopefully everyone can see my screen. This is the draft order, and while both lots require relief, we are combining the relief into one draft order for 41 Farwell Street. However, we've allocated the relief to each of the respective lots. And we've made note, which you'll see further in the order, that this order will follow the respective lots in terms of the recording. So we have here the findings for Lot 1, the proposed multifamily dwelling, that the site is an appropriate location for the 3-unit multifamily dwelling on Lot 1 because the surrounding neighborhood includes multifamily residential uses, and this provides a similar residential use in conformance with surrounding housing density. The proposed 3-unit multifamily dwelling on Lot 1 will not adversely affect the neighborhood because the project will be in conformance with neighboring residential uses and will increase open space. Item 3, that there will not be a nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians with the construction of a multifamily dwelling on Lot 1 because all parking will be contained on the site at the rear with adequate fence and landscaping screening and a pedestrian walkway access to the multifamily dwelling. Oops, sorry, I lost my space. Access to the sites over streets is appropriate for the types and numbers of vehicles involved. That literal compliance with the parking requirements for Lot 1 is impracticable due to the irregular shape of the lot relative to the size of the proposed multifamily dwelling. That literal compliance with the lighting requirements for parking facilities over 5 stalls for Lot 1 is impracticable, nor in the public interest, that the site has functioned as a surface parking facility for many years, and the required lighting levels set forth in the ordinance may not be appropriate for the surface parking facility in a mixed-use area adjacent to residential uses. And finally, item 7, that literal compliance with the landscape requirements for perimeter screening for parking facilities over 5 stalls for Lot 1 is impracticable due to the location and design of the tandem parking stalls, which require the rear and western perimeter to remain accessible and unobstructed for vehicle entry and egress. Moving on to Lot 2, which is the surface parking facility. We have here that the site is an appropriate location for the proposed non-accessory parking use on Lot 2, as the location abuts a commercial district and provides additional parking for businesses. That the proposed non-accessory parking at Lot 2 will not adversely affect the neighborhood because the location has been previously utilized for non-accessory parking and will not increase the number of vehicles stored on site. Item 3, that there will not be a nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians with the construction of the non-accessory parking lot on Lot 2 because all parking will be contained on the site with a perimeter fencing to screen parking along the north, east, and south sides of the lot. Item 4, that access to the sites over streets is appropriate for the types and numbers of vehicles involved. 5, that literal compliance with the dimensional parking requirements for Lot 2 is impracticable due to the irregular shape of the lot and the inclusion of landscaping areas and the proposed number of parking stalls. That the literal compliance with the lighting requirements for parking facilities over 5 stalls for Lot 2 is also impracticable due to the location of the parking area, and that the site has functioned as a surface parking facility for many years, and the lighting levels set forth in the ordinance are not appropriate for the surface parking facility in a mixed-use area near residential uses. That literal compliance with the landscape requirements for perimeter screening for parking facilities over 5 stalls for Lot 2 is impracticable due to the irregular shape of the lot and the number of proposed parking stalls. And finally, that literal compliance with the interior landscape requirements for parking facilities with more than 20 stalls for Lot 2 is impracticable due to the irregular shape of the lot and the number of proposed parking stalls. We have here outlined again and delineated according to the lot the respective special permit relief for Lot 1 and the relief for Lot 2. Sorry. And again here we note that the zoning for Lot 1 is multi-residence 2, previously zone limited manufacturing, and Lot 2 will remain limited manufacturing. And finally, here we have the conditions. We have under item 1, the standard plan referencing condition. We included site plan, architectural plans, and the landscaping plan that was provided, as well as the A&R plan here. Under item 2, we have the standard O&M plan condition. Under item 3, the standard pest control and rodent activity. Under item 4, construction management. And oops, sorry. Under item 5, we've added this, again, I spoke of it earlier. We're wanting this specific special permit to follow both Lot 1 and Lot 2 once they're once the lots are divided in the assessor and also at the registry, to make sure that the special permit is tied to those respective properties included in the relief. We have here, again, the standard building permit condition under item 6. And finally, under item 7, the standard final inspection and certificate of occupancy condition as to what needs to be filed for compliance. And that they will also be compliant with the landscaping plan, and that all other requirements under condition 8 are satisfied before they can get their CO from inspectional services. So that would conclude the draft order. I'm happy to go back and review anything or answer any questions. I'll turn it back over.
Thank you, Ms. Berman. I don't see any further questions. I think we're ready to take a vote.
Counselor Block,
Aye.
Counselor Downs,
Aye.
Counselor Farrell,
Aye.
Counselor Kelly,
Aye.
Counselor Leary,
Aye.
Counselor Lovitz, Counselor Lucas,
Aye.
President Laredo.
I think I need to recuse myself on this item, so I will.
Motion passes 6-0 with 1 absent, 1 recusal.
Thank you. So Mr. Busink, that is approved by the Land Use Committee, so it will next go to the full council. They will vote on it at our next and final meeting on December 15th. I have a question for you. You're representing Two Squares LLC, correct?
Yes,
And they own lots 1 and 2.
correct.
Do they own any other property in this area on Farwell Street?
No. Well,
Okay.
26 Farwell Street, yes.
So I guess my comment is that if Two Squares LLC ever wants to come back with a change of use, say particularly for Lot 2, which is now a parking lot, and if those uses change, I do hope that your presentation team is a little bit better prepared than they have been for us in terms of communication between yourselves and to us in your presentation materials. I think you got the sense of that between the 2 meetings, but I just want to go on the record by making that recommendation if you come back for any other work in the future. So, but thanks and good luck with this.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
With no
Thank you,
further-
everyone.
Good luck. With no further business. Would you use your microphone?
It would also just be helpful since you did all that work, Mr. Busick, with contacting abutters that if they had written a note of support, that's always something we like to see.
Yeah, that was part of what I was thinking about, and understanding the plans in terms of the notes that are on the plans and what they mean, and when we have questions about it, et cetera. But I think you got the idea. But anyway, good luck, and you're approved by us. You will most likely be approved by the full council. And we have no further business tonight, so we are adjourned. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.